There was a news report from NBC where they sat down exclusively with the woman accusing Jay-Z and Diddy of an alleged rape that happened over 20 years ago. Jay-Z accuser comes forward to NBC News, acknowledges inconsistencies in her allegation. Quote, "I've made some mistakes in recent recollections that night," the woman identified as Jane Doe in the lawsuit filed against Jay-Z and Diddy told NBC News. The woman said she stands by her allegations overall. The inconsistencies in her account of the incident alleged to have happened 24 years ago do not necessarily mean the allegations are false. Among the inconsistencies, the woman said her father picked her up after the alleged sexual assault, but he says he doesn't recall that. The woman also claims she spoke to a celebrity at the after party where she said she was sexually assaulted, but that celebrity said he was not in New York at that time, and images from that evening shows Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, and Sean Diddy Combs at a different location than the one the woman described, although their whereabouts for the entire evening are unclear. This incident didn't happen, Carter told NBC News in a statement Friday. He filed it in court and doubled down in the press. He added, referring to one of the woman's attorneys, Tony Busby, "True justice is coming. We fight from victory, not for victory. This was over before it began. This 1-800 lawyer doesn't realize it yet, but soon." Busby says he is continuing to vet her claims. Quote, "Jane Doe's case was referred to our firm by another who vetted it prior to sending it to us," he told NBC News in an email. "Our client remains fiercely adamant that what she says has stated is true to the best of her memory. We will continue to vet her claims and collect corroborating data to the extent it exists. Because we have interrogated her intensely, she has even agreed to submit a polygraph. I've never had a client suggest that before. In any event," he added, "we always do our best to vet each claim made, just as we did in this case. This has been extremely distressing for her, to the point she has experienced seizures and had to seek medical treatment due to the stress." The allegations against Carter suggest a seismic shift, potentially linking the rap legend to the alleged behavior laid out in civil and criminal cases against Combs, who is in a Brooklyn jail awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges. Carter's attorney, Alex Spiro, said, quote, "It's stunning that a lawyer would not only file such a serious complaint without proper vetting, but would make things worse by further peddling this false story in the press. We are asking the court to dismiss this frivolous case today, and we will take it up the matter of additional discipline for Mr. Busby and all the lawyers that filed the complaint." Holmes' attorneys call the lawsuit shameful money grab. Busby has filed more than 20 lawsuits against Combs. The lawsuit was originally filed in October in the Southern District of New York, listing Combs as a defendant, and it was refiled Sunday to name Carter as another defendant. NBC News traveled to Houston to interview the woman who declined to be identified at her attorney's office earlier this week. Quote, "You should always fight for what happened to you," she said about why she's going public with her accusations. Quote, "You should always advocate for yourself and be a voice for yourself. You should never let what somebody else did ruin your life. I just hope I can give others the strength to come forward like I came forward." The woman, who is now 38, told NBC News she was living in Rochester, New York in 2000, and that attending the VMAs was on my bucket list at 13. Was like, oh my gosh, one of those things I got to do. She said she snuck out a window to evade her parents. A friend drove her to Radio City Music Hall, New York City, she said in the lawsuit. People thronged into viewing areas outside the venue, which was decked out for awards. Crowds roared when J.Lo arrived. Eminem performed on the street. She didn't have a ticket and sat in the suit. She watched some of the show on a jumbotron outside. She also started chatting up limo drivers. "I'm trying to get in. I'm trying to stay back and get to an after party and get invited and meet some celebrities," she told NBC News. One limo driver said he worked for Combs and she, quote, "fit what Diddy was looking for." The suit said, and he told her to return later and he'd take her to an after party. About after 20 minutes in the limo, she said in the suit, she arrived at a large white residence with a gated U-shaped driveway. She said in the suit, She signed a document that she didn't read. Inside, she told NBC News, I'm talking to like Fred Durst, Benji Madden about his tattoo because, about his tattoo, that's the Last Supper because I have a religious background. So it was just something to talk about. After accepting a drink from a waitress, she told NBC News, I started feeling funny, tried to start looking for a place to lay down. She found an empty room with a bed in it. She said in the suit, and soon after, Combs, Carter, and a woman entered the room. Quote, you are ready to party? Combs said, according to the suit. Both Combs and Carter raped her. She said, Jay-Z comes over, holds me down. I start trying to push away. He puts his hands over my mouth, tell me to stop it, cut the shit. And then he rapes me like he had me overpowered, she said. Afterward, she said in the suit, she managed to flee the house and ran to a gas station. Quote, I was upset and the person at the gas station could tell I was obviously upset, and she let me use the phone. I called my dad because he was the only person I could trust at the time. I told him I messed up and I needed to ride home. She told NBC News, quote, we rode home in silence. He didn't ask me what happened. He didn't ask me what I did or where I was. She told NBC News she never told anyone about the alleged assault or wrote it down in a diary. Quote, even if somebody found out, who's going to believe me? I mean, it was to the word of two celebrities against mine. The years after were hard, she said, quote, I got severely depressed. I withdrew completely. My grades started slipping and she dropped out of school. She experienced homelessness, she said, and at one point suffered a head injury. She said her father also said she was raped later in life. She now has two children, a son and a daughter. She served less than a year in the Army National Guard and left the rank of private. She got her high school diploma and got my Christian counseling certification so that I can help people who have gone through what I've went through. She also said she has her applied behavior analysis certifications so she can help people with autism, which she says she has. There are so little resources to moms that don't have the proper amount of income. Reaction was swift in the days since the woman went public with her allegations against Carter. The rapper released a statement calling the claims idiotic and heinous in nature, and sharply criticizing her attorney. There are some inconsistencies in her story about that night. Her father told NBC News that he does not recall picking her up after the alleged attack, casting doubt on a key detail in her lawsuit. According to their address at the time, her father would have driven more than 5 hours from their home to pick her up. Quote, I feel like I would have remembered that, and I don't, he said in an interview. Thursday, I have a lot going on, but I mean, that's something that I would definitely stick in my mind. The woman's father, who said he learned the alleged assault this week, added that he did remember once picking her up in the middle of the night, but he said it was a local drive. Asked about her father's account in a follow-up interview on Friday, the woman said she stood by her claim that he had picked her up and that it's possible he had misremembered. There are a lot of things, and this stuff is that we argue about consistently. Something he said or did back in New York around that time period, he just doesn't remember. It actually causes a lot of fights sometimes in the household. Regarding her father's recollections, Busby told NBC News, we agree he states he doesn't remember. His daughter explains that he was in no state to remember during that point in time due to the personal issues he was having then. We are talking about a time frame more than 20 years ago. The woman also told NBC News that she spoke with musician Benji Madden at the after party, but a representative for Madden confirmed that neither Benji nor his brother Joel attended the 2000 VMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at the time. The woman did not accuse the brothers of any wrongdoing. Honestly, what is the clearest is what happened to me and the route that I took to what happened to me. Not all of the faces there are is clear, the woman said in the Friday follow-up interview. So I've made some mistakes. I may have made a mistake in identifying. The woman also could not provide further information about the after party she said she attended. Professional images reviewed by NBC News show Combs and Carter were among the celebrities who attended a VMA's after party at the Lotus nightclub in New York City. It is not clear what time those images were taken or if Combs and Carter attended any other after parties. The building that housed Lotus, now closed, does not match the description of the house the woman described in the lawsuit and interview. I didn't know exactly where we were going or even how long it took, the woman said when asked Tuesday where she thought she was taken that night. She added that she had guessed about the length of time the trip had taken in the lawsuit, Busby said, "We have attempted to confirm the correct location. We have never suggested the location was at the Lotus Club. Our client has been very specific and detailed about the description of the venue she said she was taken to and has never stated it was at the Lotus Club." He added, "We won't speculate on whether there was an after party or after party because, again, she doesn't know that." Also, among the woman's allegations that could not be corroborated is how she made it to New York City that night. One of her attorneys provided NBC News with the name and birth date of the friend she said drove her, who would have been 20 at the time. That person appears to have since died. NBC News attempts to reach the person's relatives were unsuccessful. Look, throw this whole lawsuit in the trash. And I'm only sticking up for Jay-Z in this case, not as much as Diddy. I can believe Diddy did something like this because, again, he's locked up for a whole bunch of other heinous crimes, and we got a video out of him hitting a woman. So yeah, it's way too many red flags here. Now she's saying she has autism, which I'm not trying to say she don't. I'm not going down that rabbit hole, but that would have been something you should have said day one from the jump. And when you come out with accusations against somebody and you're going forward with the lawsuit, you need to make sure you got your I's dotted, T's crossed. You can't just simply say, "Oh, this is how it happened" one minute, and then the next you're like, "Well, actually, now that I think about it," and then you even got your own father saying, "Well, I don't remember that happening," and then y'all trying to make up excuses saying, "Well, it was 20 years ago, he probably forgot." Like, now is not the time to be playing Mr. Forgetsy. You're supposed to remember everything that happened as it happened. You cannot mess up with anything. You can't just easily recant and say, "Oh, well, this happened." No, you either stick with story A or go with story B from the jump, because now it's looking like one big old bold-faced lie. And at this point, I'm sorry to say, but if you still somehow believe Jay-Z did something, you are slow. You need mental evaluation, because there's no way you can read through all that what I just read and still think, "Oh yeah, Jay-Z did it." You would have to be a supreme hater of Jay-Z and Beyonce to still think that he did anything or Beyonce has anything to do with this. And for the love of God, can y'all stop trying to bring LeBron James into this? The man dealt with a foot injury. Like, what are we talking about? Y'all need to stop this malarkey. Try to say, well, one thing has to do with the other. No. What y'all got against LeBron? Just because he said ain't no party like a Diddy party, however many years ago, before we even got here, does not mean he was in there doing some free shit. That man is a faithful, God-fearing man. Stop it. Or else Savannah James is going to come for y'all ass. Y'all better chill. And good Lord, if this was somehow to make it to a courtroom and Jay-Z gets dragged in there, as well as this woman, she's going to get ripped to shreds. But with that being said, y'all let me know what you think about this whole mess in the comments. Till next time, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.